Look at the difference between the scout knife and that. Oh, man. The upgrade. The upgrade. Oh, dude, that was worth the grind, guys. Hey guys, Level Cap here, and if you've been playing Battlefield 5 at all, then this new knife unlock is probably the most exciting thing you've seen in a while, and, well, sorry to say, but probably will see for quite some time. The upcoming 4.4 patch for Battlefield 5, which was going to release with 2 new maps and a bunch of new weapons unlocking in the Tides of War content, has been delayed. This patch was also going to contain a massive performance fix that I've been looking for since the launch of the game that will allegedly fix a lot of the stuttering and performance issues in Battlefield 5. The patch was out for certification. They found a whole bunch of big bugs in it. DICE now has to fix those bugs and resubmit the patch for certification. We don't have a timeline on how long that will take. It could be next week at the earliest. It could be longer than that. Now, this is coming on the heels of the news that essentially the new maps coming in this update are very underwhelming, and they only cater to 2 different game modes when they launch, Squad Conquest and Team Deathmatch, which I believe makes it the first time in DICE's history that they've launched quote-unquote new maps that have not actually facilitated the normal Conquest-based game modes. Almost every single new map that's been added to a Battlefield game supports Conquest and whatever their other premier game mode is, whether it's like Rush or Grand Operations or Breakthrough or whatever it is. That's generally what constitutes a new map. But these 2 new maps are only doing small format game modes on maps that are basically mixed matched assets from pre-existing maps to begin with. It is some underwhelming content, and that underwhelming content is now getting delayed, just like all the other content with this chapter. Alcin Dawn, nowhere to be seen, not really sure when it's coming. DICE has no ETA on that. The weapons that were shown off in the trailer that I was actually pretty excited about, like the Shosha, the Ithaca 37, the K31, the Welrod, the M1 Bazooka, which I was super pumped for, that is all not even coming in Chapter 4. Now, those weapons were designed, I guess, to be played in the 5v5 competitive mode, which was also canceled. It was just revealed that it was canceled. They weren't happy with the state of it and chose to focus their efforts on fixing bugs and whatnot in the rest of the game. Okay, fine. But the trailer for Chapter 4 showed all this content that is not coming in Chapter 4. I don't really know how much more clear of an example you could make of false advertising in a video game. Here's a bunch of cool new content you're going to get to play in the next chapter. Buy our game. All right. Oh, by the way, all that cool new content, yeah, you're getting about 1/3 of that, and if that, it might even be delayed from all of the launch dates that we initially specified anyway. This is just simply unacceptable from any video game company, let alone a huge video game company. The Chapter 4 trailer was so exciting. I made a video, and in this video, I talked about it being the best piece of promotional content I've seen for Battlefield 5 so far. I was pumped. I was excited. I was like, yeah, guys, like, this is it. Battlefield 5's turning around. We're seeing the new side of DICE. They're going to fix the game, and all this cool content's coming because they showed a trailer with all the cool stuff we're getting over the next couple months. Where's that stuff, DICE? It's not here. And all the stuff that is sort of coming has been cut down and turned into these horrible versions of what we saw in the trailer that do not live up to our expectations at all. Merida is one of the few things in this chapter that seems to have been launched on time, despite the map having some of the worst visibility in the game. It still came out, but it also didn't come out tied with a grand operation linking it to Mercury, which is what many people were expecting and was sort of alluded to it being something at a future date. So we've got Merida, we've got it in the main game modes, and that's all we've gotten from new map content this chapter. It's insane. Oh, I guess unless you're talking about the Alcin Dawn Squad Conquest in TDM's small version. There's been a few weapons added to the game. The S2200 is probably the most exciting thing we've seen, and then the rest of it was kind of very similar variations on what we already had. It's been rough. And just today, it seems like the guy who was responsible for porting Allison Dawn from single player to multiplayer came back from a vacation. In fact, I think a lot of DICE developers took the July-August vacation time off, which I think is common in Sweden, but man, like, I don't know. I don't know how a game publisher can have a huge portion of their company take 2 months off in the middle of an incredibly important content drop season, especially if your game is falling so far behind. I understand the game industry is a rough place to work. There's lots of deadlines, there's lots of crunch time, lots of this and that going on, and so you don't want to force employees into bad situations. But I mean, if you want a bad situation, the state of Battlefield 5 is a bad situation. How did it get here? DICE, you are destroying your name, your reputation, this franchise. And if you've never seen my content before, I sometimes go off on DICE or a company for doing something stupid, but I've never felt this way about DICE before. This is a new low for them as a company, and just a very, very disappointing state of affairs. I've been following their day-to-day operations and reporting on it since 2011, and this is by far the worst it's ever been. How did we get here? I've got my theories. I made that theory about how the launch title times were switched between this and Bad Company 3 based on an exclusive launch title for the next-gen PS4 and all this other stuff. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. It's possible their internal corporate structure is all messed up. Have you guys ever heard about people getting promoted to the position that they're least efficient in? It kind of makes sense. You're good at your job, you get promoted. You're good at your job. In that new position, you get promoted. Finally, you get to a position that you suck at. And guess what? You don't get promoted anymore. You stay there and you do your job terribly. Maybe that's what's happened in their production structure. There's people in charge of Battlefield that are not good at being in charge of Battlefield, shouldn't be in charge of Battlefield. Maybe everybody working in the dev team's too afraid to speak up and risk offending the higher ups, losing your job. That's a tricky game to play, you know? You're a developer, you're passionate about the game, but your concerns or your ideas fall on deaf ears, or people in charge that just aren't interested in your ideas. There's been rumors about that, little leaks here and there that the people in charge of the franchise aren't doing a good job. But it's hard to know, right? So much of this stuff can't be confirmed because honestly, people don't want to lose their jobs and they don't want to out others in the company, you know? So we just sit here as the consumers going, what the heck? You said you were going to give us this and then you didn't. What's going on? It's been going on like this forever. And I'd love to find a silver lining here, right? I guess the silver lining that I keep seeing on Reddit or people talking about is like, oh, the Pacific's going to be cool. Can you imagine what the Pacific content's going to be like or what maps they're going to be? And I can't even start to get excited about that because look at the track record of Chapter 4. Can you even get excited for Chapter 5 given what the Chapter 4 content has turned into? Go watch that Chapter 4 trailer again, and literally every scene, every sequence in that trailer has turned into a far lesser than experience than was portrayed on screen. I think of myself as an incredibly diehard Battlefield fan, and honestly, what I'm most looking forward to right now is the next Call of Duty game. Activision is making a game that feels like it caters exactly to what the Battlefield fan base has wanted for a long time. It could all be smoke and mirrors. It could still be something that I'm not interested in, but based on what they've shown and showed off so far and people's responses to the alpha and stuff, it seems very promising. And it's not to say that Activision are a bunch of geniuses and they just knew what to make at the right time. DICE has really just dropped the ball on their franchise. They haven't given the fan base what they've wanted. They've barely been able to deliver what they've promised. Not really, to be honest. And my confidence in whatever they're working on next is at an all-time low. Only time will tell what's going to become of this franchise. Maybe it'll be an amazing comeback story, an amazing turnaround. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is in a much better state than it was when it first launched, so who knows? DICE is capable of many things, but I don't know, guys. I've never seen the company or this game, this franchise, in a state quite like this before. As always, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for any news or updates about this game in the future, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing up.